extra time, you can play a game. A lot of times I will just take the different vocabulary words from the day. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Teacher Brett. I work at Gogokid. I love Gogokid and I want you to love Gogokid too. So if you are in the process or looking for an online ESL company to come teach at, I highly recommend you come to Gogokid. Today, I am going to walk you through the current demo lessons. So the demo lessons do change as it does with all of the online ESL companies sporadically. So right now, currently at Gogokid, our lesson is called Finger Mountain, and it's about hand and arm for your demo. So today we're going to walk you through slide by slide what that demo entails, some tips, some ideas for that demo. So I hope you get something out of today's video. If you are one of my referrals, you would have gotten a tip breakdown sheet for each of the slides. So I'm going to be kind of going through that. So you might want to have that printed out so you can take some notes if you get any good ideas to add to your demo. If you are not one of my referrals and you are looking for a referrer, make sure you send me an email. Use my code that I will put down below here. If you use my code, it'll automatically show up in my referral center that you've used me, and then just send me an email. And once I see that you are showing up, I will send you some information. So if you're one of my referrals, you will get a prop set that has a lot of different printable props. Lots of the ones you'll see today here are included in that. So that can be really helpful as well. So definitely give me an email if you have any questions, or if you want to be want me to refer you, I'd be happy to do that. When you do the interview, you might have two options. One is going to be a live interview. The other is a recorded demo. It is the same lesson. Just be in mind that if you're doing a recorded demo, a little bit trickier because there's not somebody actually responding to you. So you'll want to pretend like there's somebody on the other side and make corrections, those sort of things. If you haven't already watched one of my videos on kind of some general interview tips, definitely head over there and check that out as well, because those are really helpful. But let's jump in and get started on the demo lesson. So you will find that the first slide of that demo lesson is all about the introduction. So as I mentioned, the lesson is called Finger Mountain. You want to give yourself, some time to introduce yourself to the student. So I usually suggest about 1 minute it's going to take you to introduce that yourself, the lesson, and kind of build some rapport with the student. You want to make them feel comfortable. So you want to definitely be smiling. You want to have a lot of energy. You want to get them excited for class. So definitely want to introduce yourself. Hi. My name is Brett. What is your name? Get their name from them. You want full sentences. So if the student says, Brett, have them repeat, my name is Brett. Good job. Get them to repeat those full sentences as best you can. I also recommend that you do some kind of rapport question. How are you? How old are you? Something like that to kind of just keep building that rapport, get them another question. I also generally use that as a quick idea for me about what level they're at. If they really struggle to answer any basic questions, I know I'm dealing with a beginner. So I'm going to want to slow down. I'm going to want to use simple language. I usually ask the students, are you ready? And most of them, I usually teach them the first couple of times I see them, I will teach them to respond, let's go. So if they don't give me something, are you ready? Yes, or let's go. Then I'll just have them repeat, let's go. And I'll see if I can get them to do that with me. This is also a great time to introduce your secondary reward system. You need to have a secondary reward system. If you are one of my referrals, you will have gotten the Lego man here in your packet. You can use him. You can use anything you want. I like the Lego man or something like him because I can talk about the different body parts as well. So I can give him the head, I can give him the arms, I can give him the legs as I build him. You want some kind of secondary reward system, so this is a good time to introduce it. Today, if you do a good job, you get Lego or whatever you have going on. If you don't want to do it right then, that's okay too. You can also introduce it when you give it out for the first time. So you get one Lego, good job, and you can introduce it then. Either way is fine. Next slide that you're going to see is just kind of a warm-up slide. You have a couple of things going on in the background. So really easy question to ask is something like, what do you see? Remember, you're going to want to use your TPR. You're going to want to use props throughout the lesson to get the student engaged. So what do you see is a great question to ask here. If they struggle with giving you something, you can have them repeat, I see a hand. Or if they give you one word, hand, you can have them come back and repeat a sentence. Correcting pronunciation, grammar mistakes, all going to be really important. So make sure that if the interviewer is making any kind of errors or mistakes, you stop and you have them correct them. Break it down. If you try and give them a full sentence, they're struggling with that, break it down. I see a hand. Break it into smaller chunks for them. You are going to want to ask the student to, if you're in a live interview, they'll be clicking on things or circling things. If you're in the recorded demo, you can just pretend to ask them. But there are certain things they can click. The student might not know the word, or the interviewer might not know the word click or touch. So you have to teach that. So again, you're going to want some kind of props. Click the hand. Click. I'll usually try a couple of different ways, see if I can get them to do that. If they struggle with it, then I'll end up doing it for them, and we'll try again a couple of slides later. But you want to try and get them to use some of those computer skills as well on that first slide. Next two slides introduce the vocabulary for this lesson, hand and arm. Obviously, those are really important. We want the students to leave the lesson knowing those two words. So you want to use your props, hand, arm. You want to introduce the word. You want to use your props so that they know what you're talking about. You can point to your hand, your arm. You can get them to point to their hand or arm. Have the student repeat those words several times. You can use different voices. You could have them sing it. You can do it loud. Hand. Hand. You can do it quiet. You can do it however you want, but make it fun. You also are going to want them to click on the pictures, the hand and the arm, and it'll get big and small. So you can also incorporate that to make it fun. But you want them to leave that slide knowing that word. So definitely have them practice that several times in there. Next is a matching game where you're going to say the word and they are going to click on the picture. So things like head, hand, arm. After you say it, you're going to click it. Do not let them get away with just clicking it. We want them talking too. So have them repeating after you, hand when they're clicking it. Arm. Use your props. If you say hand and the student is confused, use your prop. Hand. Click the hand. And see if you can get them to do it. This is a great place to use that modeling. I do, we do, you do. So I might do the first one. I might have the student and me work on the second one together. And then by the time we get to that third one, I want to see if they can do it all by themselves. So if they're struggling, that is a great strategy to use on this slide here. Next, we have the I Spy, and it's the same type of idea. You're going to say a word, and the student's going to find the picture. But this one has a lot more pictures, so it's a great place to extend. If the student really quickly identifies the hand and the arm, ask about some of the other, questions. Where is the apple? Where is the apple? See if you can get them to click on some of those other pictures. It's a great place to extend. Great place to add in sentences. I see a hand, or I see an apple. Get them to repeat those sentences. Next slide, this is his arm. So we have two slides. This is his arm and this is his hand. This is a great place for a whiteboard, or if you are one of my referrals in your packet, there is a sentence strip. This is blank, blank, blank. So you can, cut out the different vocabulary words that I have, for arm or hand and make different sentences. This is his arm. This is his hand. or you can write it on a whiteboard. This is his arm. This is his hand. So we want to make sure that they understand arm and hand again. So have them circle them on the screen or click them on the screen. Again, depending on your time, you can ask questions. How many arms do you see? How many hands do you see? We have our little egg friend on these slides who does not have any arms or any hands. So the kids really like it when I'll circle the egg and say, how many arms? And he doesn't have any. So I'll say, no arms. And me and the student will cry that he does not have any arms or any hands. So usually another great way to extend there. Or you have the monster who has a really big hand and Jack has a really small hand. So again, you could teach big and small just really quickly, have a little fun with that as well. Great way to extend it. The next slide you'll see has this is his arm and this is her hand. So you want to focus on the his and the her, making sure the student understands and differentiates between those. So we have Jack and Hannah, and this is his, this is her. So again, you can think of ways to incorporate that. Maybe again, you have your whiteboard. This is her arm. This is his hand. I sometimes will hold up different things, her hand, her arm, and then I'll switch it with Jack. His hand, his arm. So you can do that as well. You have to keep in mind your pacing, because there are 12 slides and you have 10 minutes to get through the demo lesson. So you don't have a ton of time for each. So you're not going to be able to extend on every single slide probably. So pick and choose a couple that you think would work for you and your teaching style. You can also have them count butterflies or have them go over colors on this slide if you like those extensions. That's a great way to extend as well. You want to try and extend on a couple of slides so that Gogokid can see that you're able to extend. In general, the lower students' lessons don't have as much content because you are expected to have to teach the student a lot of, basic directions, their name, that sort of stuff. So it does give you some extra time to extend. But if you just quickly read through each slide, you're going to be done way too quick. So keep in mind your pacing, have a little timer there, kind of keep track. Definitely practice several times so you know that you're spending the right amount on each of those slides. Then we kind of have our end of the lesson here. You have a review slide, the good song slide, and then the goodbye slide. So we have our review slide. This is a great place to cut corners. So if you are running short on time, you are almost out of time, and you get to this review slide, just go through it quickly if you need to. You're going to go over what they learned that day. Today we learned, and I will usually hold it up and see if the student remembers. Yeah, arm. Today we learned, and I'll hold up, hand. We'll repeat the sentences. This is his arm. This is her hand. If you have lots of extra time, you can play a game. A lot of times I will just take the different vocabulary words from the day, and I'll hold up different ones and see if the student can remember what they are, or maybe I want to do his and her again. However you want to do it, but just keep your eye on that time because that's going to be really important. And again, make sure that when they're doing this review slide that pronunciation is on point. This is their final, goodbye. This is what we learned today. Make sure that they're giving you that correct pronunciation. If not, have them correct it there. We have the song next. You're going to click the play button. You can listen to the song. Again, look at your timing. If you have lots of extra time, then walk the student through each line. Lots of times I'll play the whole song and then we'll sing each line. This is her arm. And then I'll have the student repeat it. This is her hand, and I'll have the student repeat it. If I don't have a lot of time, then maybe we're just going to listen to it once and sing it together. That's fine too. Whatever you might have. A microphone is really helpful for the songs. You can either, buy something like this is from the dollar store, or you can just print one. This is in my prop pack as well. For those of you that are my referrals, you can just print it out, laminate it, and use it over and over if you want. And then we have the goodbye song. Again, about 30 seconds to a minute on this goodbye slide. I usually do sing a goodbye song to my students. You don't have to, but you want to make sure you say goodbye to your student, obviously, and summarize the reward from that day. I usually will say, you did a great job today. You got 5 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, yay! And I'll summarize their secondary reward system. You made Lego. Head, arm, body, legs. Good job. I will summarize their secondary reward system as well on this slide. Make sure you end it on a positive note. Smile, say goodbye, goodbye. Be energetic and happy. That's going to be one of the most important things when you're doing that demo. Happy, energetic, engaging for the student. If you haven't already checked out my basic interview tips, go check those out so you make sure that you've got all the classroom and the different techniques that they're going to be looking for down. If you are one of my referrals, you should have some sample videos in there. You should have your prop pack. You should have some tips sheet as well. If you have any questions, you can give me a shout out on email and I'd be happy to answer those for you. I hope you guys have a great day. Please subscribe and like if this video was helpful for you. And I hope that we see you at Gogokid really soon. Bye, guys. Go, go, apply.